Welcome back to another fantasy draft guide here on Madden 24, and today we're going to be doing something slightly different, like ever so slightly, and that is instead of building the perfect fantasy draft team, we're going to be building the most overpowered fantasy draft team. Now, there's a big difference in that, in my opinion. I've explained it a few times, but in case you're new to the channel or you never watched any of these videos, what that means in difference to me is the perfect team is a team that has a lot of youth, a lot of players that you can develop at most of the toughest positions, right? A quarterback that is a lower overall, wide receiver, running back, tight end, that kind of stuff that is a little bit of a lower overall, whereas overpowered, you would have the best quarterback. So obviously in that case, it's gonna be, I sounded like a freaking goat there. I was like, I don't know what I'm saying. The Lions we ended up going to, and that is Patrick Mahomes, of course. There's other options, debatably, if you're going to use the team. Maybe a Josh Allen, maybe a Lamar Jackson, and perhaps maybe Herbert. I think that's kind of where that ends, though, for the quarterback comparisons. I don't think, Joe Burrow or Tua or Dak or Purdy or even maybe Hurts would be comparable, but Mahomes for sure is, especially in Sim, the best quarterback you can get. It's a hard differentiation because Sim and, user is a little tough. I'm going to try to mix the two, which I think means grabbing a running back early, but realistically, overpowered, you don't want to spend too high of a pick on running back, but, it makes sense, right? I think a Breece Hall for the overpowered using or simming is a great player as well that we'll end up going for later. But obviously, we are now at pick 32 in the second round, which we also get pick 1 in the third round. Obviously, if you're trying to, do this for a team you want, like the Packers or the Chiefs themselves, you'll have to switch, keep starting over and over. I tried that for like a good 20. Didn't happen. I was like, you know what? Can I actually just switch to the team? And you can. You just have to switch, back out, come back in, and it'll let you draft players again. And you'll have your choice at pick 1 overall. But with that being said, let us move on to our next pick. And I think that next pick is going to be Quentin Williams. Very high overall DT with Superstar Dev. Not an easy position to develop into someone this good. And the value is there as he is pick 3 in the third round usually. And it says good pick, which I don't really follow that too much. It's nice to see. It's like, hey, you believe in us, but overall, not necessary. And while there's a couple of other guys like Jalen Johnson, Deron Bland, Stingley even, that are better by overall, there is no better cornerback technically than Tariq Woolen. 98 speed, 88 zone, pretty damn good press, really good catch, and of course, 6'4". He is absolutely our pick here. A little bit of a lower overall, but as far as overpowered goes, yeah, that is a very hard cornerback to throw against. And now we move on to an offensive lineman. You guys have actually seen me make this play quite a bit lately in my How to Draft a Fantasy Draft team. And that is because superstar development trait linemen are very hard to get. And the right abilities on a superstar development trait lineman could literally make it where it's basically impossible to get pressure from that side. And if you have no pressure when you're playing offense, you can't lose. That's just how it goes. You don't get pressure, you don't lose. That's just how it works. So Quentin Nelson, who is likely going to be moving over to left tackle, is our pick here. And it's tough because, once again, we're talking about overpowered in Madden Sim. Josh Jacobs is a very good pick here. He is a very good pick, but we're kind of mixing the two, right? Overpowered for playing and overpowered for simming. So I think with that next pick, even though we haven't grabbed wide receiver yet, and there's a guy like Olave there, I think it's just a little bit tougher to get a guy as good as Kyle Pitts. His overall is slowly dropping, each Madden, but 22 years old, 84 overall with X Factor, and he is 6'6", insane speeds, insane ratings. He's just a guy you can't miss, and he goes, sadly, the start of next round, so you're reaching, but you have no choice if you're taking, a pick in the top 5, which, of course, if you want one of those quarterbacks, you have to. And now we drop a little bit to add a real Detroit Lion in Jameson Williams. Very hard to teach speed, and at 6'2", he is absolutely worth it. Can easily develop as your number 1 in a sim or obviously a user situation. And now this next one's a tough one. We should still get running back no matter what, but if we get lucky at pick 32 in the round 8, we might have ourselves a very, very good running back. So with that being said, we are going to be grabbing Jalen Carter, who is a really good value here because he actually is supposed to go pick 4 in round 8, so we're barely landing him here, and it's another really good value pick. And like I said, there should be running backs no matter what, but cream of the crop wise, he is not there. No, actually he is there, because Bijan, I forgot, is a little bit of a lower overall these days. Now this is a tough one, because even though he does have Superstar Dev, and Superstar Dev is clutch, you could debatably argue that Gibbs at this point in the game is better than him, because once again, speed is king, and if you have that +3 speed boost, that's 97 speed at running back. The thing is, I don't know if you really need 97 speed, but I do like Gibbs a lot. So I will be thinking about this one a lot, as it's going to be between Breece, Gibbs, and Bijan in this slot, unless we wait for A-Chain, who we could possibly wait for a little bit longer. And you know what? I just think it's too hard to pass on the Dev and the juke move of Bijan. You get that +3 speed, 94 speed is still vastly enough. So it's tough between him and Gibbs, but I would say either Bijan or Gibbs, your personal preference. We're going to go Bijan, even though we are the Lions. I think in sim, he's going to be a little better than Gibbs, and in actual playing, it's a kind of a toss, if you will. And shockingly enough, I actually had a Quanu, or I didn't have him, but the game had a Quanu going almost a whole round and a half early, which I was going to be taking him here with this pick, but instead I might actually go to the opposite side of the ball. Once again, this is going to happen from time to time. The players that are on the list, they're going to jump a whole round. Sometimes they're going to stay an extra 16 picks. And I think with that being said, I'm going to go with Quay Walker. In a user sense, he is freakly. In a sim sense, because his #1 style, it used to be field general, it actually changed. He is a very good developer. Now I'm starting to think maybe with that field general gone, maybe I don't go Quay. There's other options there. He's really good. Hit power is insane. Speed's really good. Change of direction, 6'4", all that good stuff. But yeah, now that he's not field general, that sim might be a little bit worse than he used to be. But you know what? I want that. I think linebacker is a little bit tougher to develop than cornerback. I think in the draft, there's a lot more talented corners that are day one starters than linebackers. So I think that is going to be the decision-making on that one. And of course, this is where if you skipped on a running back like Bijan or Gibbs, you can go A-Chain, which is a great value for him. James Cook is nearby too, but very good value here. He goes very early in the next round, so running back is kind of now. But for me, I don't know what to do. But I think what it's going to be is we end up going DJ Turner, who is insanely fast. You pair him up with, sure, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but 6 foot tall is pretty good. You pair him up with Tariq Woolen. You've got basically 299 speed corners if you get the speed boost. Very insane and lower overall, but worth it. Speed is king. So if the overall is lacking, but the speed is good, it's worth every penny. And it's a really tough pick because we don't need our DTs by any means, but Jordan Davis, for whatever reason, is a low overall, but still superstar dev. It is hard to pass on someone that good. This could actually be a very, really no dev up for him, a luxury pick, but I'll look, just one more look, just in case. And you know what? I'm going to go Jordan Davis here, I think. I'm just going to make sure there's no other DTs that I like. I do like McNeil. And that's because Jalen Carter is so athletic that in Madden, at least, I think you can play him at edge. There is a decent chance we play him at edge. He's 82 speed. 82 speed. I think he could play edge. And then this is the perfect time to grab Trent Brown. He is 30, don't get me wrong, but he should last at least 4 seasons, which is a lot of seasons. Most leagues last less than 5. Pass block finesse, run block finesse is a little iffy, but there's no better value here. He goes middle of this round, but obviously with our picks being back-to-back, we do have to take him a little early, but it's fine. And it's a slight reach. He goes like a whole round later, but there's a couple of other players that I need to grab going forward. Kirby Joseph's here as well, but I just think the hit power with Jordan Battle, I think, is just a little bit more valuable. I believe Kirby Joseph had lower hit power, right? Also had Daxton Hill around there, but I just think Daxton Hill is just so raw. Sure, he's fast, but I just think he's so raw. 88 speed for Battle is a little low, I can admit, but I think he's just a little too raw. He's just a little too raw for me. So we kind of passed on him a little. But at the same time, he very well could still be here, and he is. I might end up taking him anyways. I might take both of these players, but first things first. Never mind, we got really unlucky with Mekhi Becton as well. I had him going about 8 picks after where we are now, and he ended up going to the Colts. So if Mekhi Becton's here for you, I would definitely take the chance on him, just because, once again, superstar dev. But we might have to go elsewhere now. And now you might be thinking, really low overall for a most overpowered video, but very, very fast. A 74 power move, 70 block shed. You know, we're starting to get down there a little bit, right? We have more than half of our roster filled already, and most of those players are very talented. And I know there's going to be other safeties, but I think we're going to take the very raw but speedy talent in Daxton Hill. That speed is hard to teach. And don't get me wrong, we are filling the wide receiver spots with some pretty low overalls, but the talent is there. Quentin Johnson is going to be the guy. He usually goes the start of next round, but once again, we do not have a pick for the start of next round. Well, you know what I mean. Not this round. The pick 18. And then we're going to go back to wide receiver again. Romeo Doubs, 23 years old, but very good, right? The speed is pretty decent. Excel is great. Catching's really good. Very balanced route runnings. Release 78, and he's obviously young enough to develop. He's actually a pretty good wide receiver. He's like, I wouldn't say the poor man's Donovan Peoples-Jones, but equal to Donovan Peoples-Jones or now Nico Collins. But obviously those guys are a bit higher up. Well, maybe not Donovan, but obviously Nico is a little bit higher up than that. Now we're going to be hitting the offensive lineman well with Broderick Jones, very good at finesse blocking. So add him to the squad. And this is insane. The Bills took Trenton Simpson almost 2 full rounds early. Like, luckily the guys are losing. You know, Trenton Simpson's amazing. And, you know, Mekhi Becton as a superstar and Aquanu as a superstar. Very valuable players, but lucky it's not the worst names that are going early, but some of these have been wildly higher than I've ever seen them go. And while I don't like the speed, he's 6'5" and very versatile. Drew Sanders could play pass rusher. You could play, off ball if you needed to with really good press. Catching's decent. Man coverage is great. He's a really good player. 84 speed's a little low, but 74 change of direction, you can get away with it. And because he's 6'5", you can get away with it. Drew Sanders. And then even though we probably don't need corner that much, the value there, is there for Cam Smith. Another hidden dev corner. We got 3 now. And I have no idea where I'm going to play half these players, but Evan Neal, kind of a luxury pick. He's really athletic. Maybe you just have yourselves an Alex Boone type right guard. Not a very good finesse blocker, but a very good power blocker. Maybe that's the Sam Cosmi pole, Put him at guard, and wow, he's a goon. And then, of course, even if you don't need him, Nolan Smith is always a guy you just can't pass on. Too much value with that speed, and he's going to be our guy. Then we take the ultra value of Zach Charbonnet, who could be your starter as a backup. With that argument, maybe Gibbs would have been a better pick, but I think you can't go wrong with Bijan or Gibbs. If your, big conundrum is, damn, who do I take, Gibbs or Bijan? I mean, I think you're living. And even though you have Kyle Pitts, why not have, the more raw Kyle Pitts as your backup? Luke Musgrave, a lot of times I see him as the starter. So once again, as a backup, you're cooking. A little bit of a reach, but my boy, haven't talked about this name in a while. Terrell Edmonds. And we're still probably going to go for Nick Cross, but the value of Terrell Edmonds is still good enough for one more year. At 27, if he doesn't go up in overall, I think we're pushing it, but 26, I think it's worth it. And then we're going to finish our offensive line with Joe Tippmann, the hidden dev center. Pass block finesse isn't great, but everything else is pretty damn good for a youngster. And man, forget Nick Cross at this point. Lewis Seen, we're going to have like 5 goated safeties, because we're going to go for Nick Cross as well, probably. I mean, it's illegal. If you don't go Nick Cross in your fantasy draft and you're the only user, and you're selling, it's illegal. It's a crime. And for good measure, why not Darnell Washington? Put him at fullback. Do whatever you want. He's a god. Been enjoying him in the Bears franchise, let me tell you that much. And as much as I think Chase Brown's more fun, Abanaconda is 3 years younger, so I think you get to play that age. Even though we talked about average franchise lasts probably under 5 years, the age, especially for a super backup, why not? Gotta go the youth. And I'm not sure when it happened, but I absolutely sold on Nakobe Dean. I'm not really sure when that happened, but obviously, if you're usering, you don't need to worry anyways. You've got Owen Pappoe. In a sim scenario, though, this is kind of a sell not to grab a little bit better of a linebacker, but yeah, in a user, you're actually playing the games, he's obviously good enough. He's going to be too much fun to use anyone other than him, really. And then I was expecting him to be gone by now, but another tall guy in A.T. Perry. At this point, I don't even have anyone else on my, updated fantasy draft guide list, which I'll probably link yet again in the description of this video. But Probably going to be going a little bit deeper in this than I normally would. Now, this is kind of a tough situation quarterback-wise, but I would like to have some sort of backup. I think Tyrod Taylor, does it show? I'm pretty sure he has the mentor tag, which I guess you don't really need. You just kind of need, like, somebody young-ish. Do we got, like, throw power? Dorian Thompson-Robinson, probably. Probably goes a lot later than this, but a lot of fun, and I don't know if I showed the speed, but obviously some good speed. But yeah, at this point, you might be missing a few positions, like, you know, corner, we don't technically have everyone, but there might be a couple of guys in here. Kelvin Joseph, he's obviously a great player, 23 years old, but 94 speed, so that's a great backup right there. And, you know, if you need wide receiver still, I'm sure there's a couple of speedsters in there still. Maybe an Anthony Schwartz, unless I missed him. Let's see, speed. Yeah, Tyquan Thornton, Anthony Schwartz. That's basically the picks you're going to be making at this point. I think fullback, kicker, punter, outside of Justin Tucker, if I'm not mistaken, they all go undrafted, so you can take them literally right at the end if you need to. But also, unless they change them, look for guys that you might think are mentors. Robert Quinn's almost usually always a, I just said a bunch of nonsense right there, a mentor tag guy. And then wide receiver, a really good one. I'm hoping he is there. Marquis Goodwin, almost always mentor, lasts a couple of seasons, and he can be your kick returner. He is like the steal of this. But did we just draft him perfectly? Did I say 1073? I don't know if that glitched, but if that's legit, that is actually absurd. But yeah, he is kind of a cheat code for that. You guys might see him on my team a lot of the time when we do rebuilds. Tariq Cohen's kind of fun, can't lie. Oh, and then my boy, Sean Tucker. I love him. 21 years old with 92 speed. I almost said 21 speed. Probably could do a little bit more for the linebackers. Probably still speed here. Channing Tindall, Troy Anderson, another great user. He's 24, but you can still absolutely develop him if you go absolutely ape on the user picks. So fast. 6'4" with one of the highest change directions in the game at linebacker. It's crazy. Then you have Jalen Armour Davis. He's pretty raw. He's 23, but he's fast, so why wouldn't you go with him? 70 catch. Why not? All backups, you know, a lot of players that you probably won't even be able to keep because they're backup level with contract needs. It's really hard to keep a team this good intact, so what can you really do? Barno, because of the insane speed. Maybe use him if you wanted to go crazy. Very bad zone covers. Obviously, he's supposed to be a pass rusher. And then D'Angelo Malone. I did not think he was this low of an overall, but, I mean, there's a little bit of value there. Fast with finesse. Just trying to get backups at all the spots that we can. And then I mentioned it in the fantasy draft guide, but I imagine Randall Cobb's got to have the mentor tag because he is a guy that has taught a lot of, you know, young kind of slot wide receivers. That I just see him as that mentor, and I think that's the reason why, you know, even with the Rodgers thing, that he bounced around a couple of teams near the end of his career still, you know, just finding value for him with just mentoring. And then obviously you still have a guy like Anthony Schwartz sitting here who's 22 with 96 speed. Used to be faster, but 96 speed is still blazing. And then one of the biggest things you can do, which you could probably wait till after the draft anyways, is grab a mentor lineman. Eric Fisher, pretty much anyone that's 32 or older has a very good chance of mentor, but I know for a fact Eric Fisher does have the mentor tag. And then at left guard, I'm almost certain Justin Pugh also has the mentor tag. Now, some of these positions we might not need, like you don't really need to worry about Trent Brown. I guess Quentin can help. You know, it would help him to get a mentor to get his XP up, but doesn't matter too much. Ben Jones is here. He's obviously a one-year guy, but his ratings are starting level. So whether he has the mentor tag or not, I'm taking him for injury concerns potentially. And then we have another draft pick still. We still have a chance to grab, backups or the kicker, punter, fullback situation. Gabe Jackson has the mentor tag, so grab him. 32 years old. Don't know what kind of contract they're going to give him. Might be a 1 year, but you're still cooking for that 1 year, I guess. And remember, 54 is the final one, so they allow you to draft 54 players, which is kind of stupid because you're obviously going to have to get rid of one anyways. Right tackle, Riley Reif, I'm almost certain, has the mentor tag. Obviously, you want to try to get guys that are 32 on the dot because 35 is usually the cutoff point for almost every position, specifically O-line. But now I suppose it's time to go for fullback. I think personally, based on age, speed, and all that, Reggie Gilliam is the best fullback in the game. Seems like no matter what their smarts are, their run block, their impact block, all that stuff, the fullbacks just kind of suck in the game, but at least Reggie's fast. Speed is kind of the only thing that matters at fullback, it seems, as no matter how smart they are, they just miss blocks. I've tested 99 overall fullbacks, and they miss blocks, which obviously There's no 99 overall fullbacks, even though Juszczyk is great. There is none. And then for the kickers, I don't think abilities matter, so you're really just looking for the strongest youthful player. Is Cade York that guy? He's 22 years old, 73 accuracy. It might be a little bit. We might be going a little too crazy with that age. Joey Sly, maybe. The accuracy isn't great there either, though. Jake Elliott. Oh, Aubrey probably, actually. 28. I thought he was 26. Yeah, kicker used to be like a guarantee. You knew who was the best, but now it's a little iffy. 28 it's up there, but I guess, like I said, if under 5 is the average, it kind of seems like it might actually be Cade York. The accuracy's a little low for my liking. But I think, I guess you go Cade York just because he's young and better XP for upgrades. 97 kick power is great. All of the abilities for kickers and punters are no longer as good as they used to be, so there's no point. And then for punter, AJ Cole is still absolutely the best. As, yes, we just talked about Superstar doesn't matter too much for punter. There's not much competition when it comes to AJ Cole, though, so he's just your guy. And then this will be your final draft pick that actually kind of sticks to the team. And I suppose with that, I would probably like to have some sort of mentor corner if possible. Riley Moss. Fun because he's a white corner. I guess if you wanted the OP white corner. Don't know how that would work. But I think Xavier Rhodes is the mentor tag. Or has the mentor tag. So that'll be our guy. And then, I don't know who the hell you take with this next pick. I guess you maybe take this pick assuming that there's a chance to keep them just in case one of the linemen that we grab doesn't have mentor. I don't know who the hell I take now because I just sold his... Riley's gone. Oh, Kalen Barnes clutched up. If you get that +3 for cornerback speed, that's 99 speed. You got yourself a 99 speed corner that could maybe play the kick return role. Anyways, that is going to be the draft. I think because this team's so good, I kind of want to just use the roster. We obviously have a lot of guys that need to switch positions, so don't look at that overall. That just means nothing. I don't really think there's any point to use the roster or rebuild the roster. I think you just sim this team, to be honest. But yeah, there are some positions that I maybe would have liked to do better, but it's really hard to go for edge if you're going to grab quarterback in the top 5 picks because all the edge rushers are gone late first, early second for the most part. So, instead of Quentin Williams, maybe we could have went somewhere else, but I think the value of a superstar tackle, which is where Quentin Nelson's going to play, is just immense. All right, moment of truth. We moved the lineup around a little bit to fit the actual 3-4 scheme and, the offensive linemen in the right spots. 80 overall. Let's see what the team looks like with the changes. 81 overall. Definitely not our highest overall, but at the same time, unless you're going to go with a bunch of 1 or 2 year players, the overall might not always be the best, but this is still one of our strongest teams we've built. We have the superstar left tackle, we have the 88 overall right tackle, and then the interior, it doesn't matter as much. The pressure is coming from the edge the majority of the game, and you have that set. Of course, we also got kind of unlucky. There was a Kwanu, who I get 90% of the time in my fantasy draft guide videos because, well, he's supposed to be where he is. Didn't end up there, unfortunately. But we still end up with one of our better running backs in Bijan Robinson. We also have Kyle Pitts, who's ridiculous. Obviously, Mahomes, who is a problem. Wide receivers lacking a little bit, but you obviously have all the talent in the world there with 79 overall. Williams and Dobbs, who are both 23 and under. Then you move on to the defensive side of thing. Definitely didn't work out on the edge. Oh, I'm supposed to put it at 4-3. Didn't do as much for the edge as we were supposed to, but Jalen Carter with Myles Murphy is strong. And then Quentin Williams or Jordan Davis, 2 superstar dev DTs right out the gate. Tariq Woolen, the 6'4" corner with a very fast DJ Turner on the opposite side. Safeties, the overalls are a little lower, but the talent is there. And then linebacker, obviously, Quay Walker and Drew Sanders should be good for the future. And then your user and Owen Papau is him. Hey, even though it's a one-season thing, Jordan Battle is star dev. It's, proof of how easy it is to develop normal devs. Wait, did Bijan go to... He went to X Factor. This has been an insane sim. Playoffs, it is looking like a bye week season. And it is some of the scores I've seen, though. These stats might be insane. They might be insane. I've seen a lot of 40-plus point games. We ran the Chiefs offense, Chiefs defense kind of schemes, as that's what we're going to do in these, kind of tester videos. Videos like these where it's a one sim type of deal, speed rebuilds, that kind of stuff. But these are what the games look like. I've seen a lot of 40 points, or very close to. I mean, look at how many there were, especially in the second half of the season. But let's take a look at how these guys played, see if we had any dev ups. I would imagine, well, I guess you can't dev up Pitts, but I imagine he had a really good season. Mahomes killed it. 53 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 5,200 yards. Don't get me wrong. I have seen Mahomes do really well in Sim, but this is not a common Sim season. Almost breaking the passing touchdown record is not common. Then looking at the running backs, Bijan Robinson, 16 touchdowns, 1,400 yards, pretty good stuff. Receiving, Pitts was above and beyond. I've not really seen a tight end put up those kind of numbers in Sim like ever. Jameson should go up in dev. Quentin was pretty good. Dobbs is pretty good, but Kyle Pitts just stole too much for them to do much more than that. Bijan almost finishing with about 2K yards. Blocking was great. And then looking at pass rush, do we have anything going for us? That's not bad. I've seen, we've had 85 plus, 90 plus edge rushers put up less than double digits. So Miles Murphy getting 8.5, Carter getting a 6.5. That's not terrible. Williams at 12 is great. Quay Walker with 3 interceptions. Same with Woolen. 2 for Sanders, Turner, and Joseph. 1 for Papo, Daxton Hill, and Battle. Of course, some other sack totals. 4 for Jordan Davis. 4 for Sanders, 1 for Papo. Kicking, Cade York was great. Punting, a little lackluster from A.J. Cole. Kick return, punt return game we don't talk about. But first in NFL offense. What about defense? Third in defense. First in scoring. 9th in points allowed. I mean, this is... And then Mahomes wins MVP, of course. This has been a ridiculous one. Bijan with Rookie of the Year. Drew Sanders with Rookie of the Year. Mahomes best quarterback. Bijan 3 for running back. Williams at 2. Quentin at 8. O-line at 1, which is a superstar guard. Jones at 2. Doesn't really count because he doesn't play, but Jones killed it. Broderick Jones. Quentin Williams at 2. Murphy at 10. Linebacker not on the list, sadly. DB at number 9. Kicker at number 5. Absurd season for the year that we're trying to, show that we built this pretty good team. We built ourselves a pretty good team. And no, running the Chiefs offense and defense does not guarantee you to be this good. It does not. It simply does not. Now, we could lose this very first game, would not surprise me, but we've built a great roster. All right? It is a very good roster. And the thing about it is, even though I meant for this to be a super overpowered team, which it is, we've grabbed more like guaranteed starters that are going to be good than any of our other guides, but there are still fun players to develop. There's still guys like Dobbs and Jameson Williams that still do need to develop. While it's almost guaranteed they do because of their starting points, they do need to develop still, and there's guys on defense as well. So it's still a fun team while it is overpowered. 23-14, one of our lower scoring games, but enough to win regardless. Looking at the player stats, Mahomes was pretty calm and cool. 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Dak, pretty similar game, but not as good in the completion percentage, obviously, department. Running backs, gotta say, Bijan let me down a little bit. Devontae Smith was great. Jameson was decent. And then looking at sack totals, 2 for Quentin Williams, 1 for, no interceptions. And both kickers missing a kick. At least Cade York's was blocked, though. Jalen Carter as an edge rusher is killing it, though. 89 power move. And I actually have my XP sliders lower than normal. I would usually do about 150 across the board. This one I did 140 across the board because I didn't want our young players to just become gods right away just to try and prove that, we built a good team. But a lot of the other teams are really good overalls too. We caught up and then some. Obviously, contracts have become a problem, so all these really good teams that are, starting all these youngsters, we're going to be losing some players, they're going to be losing some players. Now, I will admit I did sell at the contract re-signings. I just didn't look at it because, I just don't see this team as a team that I'm playing more than a year personally. But obviously, we'll take a look at them just to see what kind of trouble we may be in. But obviously, at the same time, we got a lot of guys that have, higher overalls than they would have had if I paid them the time I did. Wait, what is the quarter length on? I didn't even notice that this whole time that it's on 1 minute. Now, of course, for some reason, it's actually scaled properly, so it doesn't matter that it's on 1 minute, but yeah, that's crazy. If I actually went into one of the games, I might have sold. Not a hard quarterback to play against, but Mahomes was great anyways. And I gotta say, Bijan Robinson, 1 carry for 7 yards. I gotta put the damn quarter length on 10 minutes. Like I said, thankfully they do have it scaled for whatever reason. It's kind of weird, but it is scaled. It is now the Super Bowl. Up against the Bills. They have a couple of, decent playbooks, seasons that I've seen from time to time. but let's take a quick look at our dev-ups, assuming we had some. We should have had a couple on offense. Maybe not a couple, but maybe Jameson. Jameson, who is a very high overall. Dobbs obviously did not go as high of an overall. Quentin, a lot of morale boosts, right? Our guys are really high overall because of morale. Miles Murphy is a superstar. Quentin Williams is an X Factor. Carter is a superstar. Tariq Woolen is a superstar. No other dev-ups, but those are very good dev-ups nonetheless. Going to the end of the game, let's see if we can win it all. This is why I didn't want to do a proper rebuild of this team. I don't know if I mentioned it, but like I said, I might do a rebuild of the perfect fantasy draft team we did, or maybe another fantasy draft like that, and we rebuild it all in one video. But yeah, for this one, it just didn't seem to make a lot of sense. Even if we don't win this one, which it looks like we're going to, it's fine, because the team's so good, and we do win it anyway. So the Niners, I don't know why I said the Niners. The Lions have won the Super Bowl. Mahomes kind of has 4, technically 3, because he would have won it just now, but not really much to see here. Lions are Super Bowl champions with the most overpowered team, guide team anyways. Mahomes, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a couple of quarterbacks that we didn't really have to play that were tough, but Bijan put up better numbers with the 10-minute quarters. And what else do we have? Sack totals, there's that. Just a good team, and once again, it was still a pretty young team for the most part. We drafted a lot of young players that can still develop. Just a little bit more guys that are guaranteed to succeed, like a Bijan, a Pitts, and guys like those, so like a Woolen, those types of names. But yeah, I'll show you guys who didn't force any wins, because obviously in this one, normally you hear me say, oh, I don't have a horse in the race. I do have a horse in this race, I would obviously want the team to do well, because otherwise it's like, oh, you built the most overpowered team, but you went 7-10. No, that's not what happened here. But we'll take one last glance at the team. The morale's going to... Oh, yeah, let's look at the negotiations as well. The morale's going to be all over the place probably, but yeah, the squad is looking pretty good. This squad has upgraded tremendously after one season. This is why when we do those rebuilds where the team is still like the highest overall team in the league, but we only made the playoffs like one time, it's that spectacular. Because like I said, these XP sliders are what I would normally have. O-line a little bit higher, because obviously they need them. Oh, defense I did do 150, actually. I must have went into autopilot mode. But 140, which is, the offense is what developed the most. Quarterback I've been putting a little bit lower lately, because it seems like after year 4 or 5, you have like 15 90-plus overall quarterbacks, which is just not real. But let's go to the re-signings and see how screwed we are. Because obviously you're supposed to re-sign these guys before the season's over, and we didn't. So a lot of these players are going to be a lot better overall than they should be. So, yeah, we might be in a little bit of trouble, but just to get a good eye on what kind of situation we'd be in if you drafted the exact same team, which honestly, if you're doing one of these, I'd hope you draft a little bit better of a team than us. Because like I said, I think we got a little unlucky at times. But here, Tariq Woolen, he was an 86 overall star dev. Now he's a 90 overall superstar dev. And now we have to freaking tag him probably, because once again, I forgot to do it. Not even that I forgot, but just that I didn't see this as a team that I was going to do more than one season with. So in this realm, it didn't matter to re-sign players. A lot of guys that would be so much cheaper if I would have just re-signed them earlier. So think about where we're going to be, and think about how much easier it would be if you did it right, like I didn't. And thankfully, there wasn't that many names. So yeah, we're fine. Tag is 20 mil. We got him, could have had him about 16 mil or so. Probably more than that, like I said. And then Musgrave, unfortunately, he does want a lot of money. I don't see where I would spend this, but if you're trying to keep the dream alive, a 1-year 8, that's perfectly fine. 4-year 31 as your backup, though, a bit costly. There's still some pretty good quality backups here. Maybe you keep Troy Anderson, maybe you keep Kalen Barnes because of the cheap. Actually, let's just perpetrate that real quick. I don't even know if that's the right word in this case, but 5-year 1.2 per. Sean Tucker, another guy that, maybe you get away with this. Cheap as hell. Oh, my. What else do we got? Anyone else you can get on the cheap? A lot of backup linemen. AJ Cole, I would argue that fullback, punter, doesn't really matter that much. Cade York, though, obviously, I'd be trying to get him long-term. 7-year 25, done deal. So we have 65 mil left over, and once again, we could have probably saved another 10 to 15 mil if we would have signed them earlier. That's going to be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this one, let me know in the comment section below. And if you want to see more kind of challenge rebuilds involving the draft, maybe suggest something and it'll be featured on the video. I have a couple of ideas listed, but I'm always looking for more. If you guys, are new, maybe subscribe to the channel. If you're not new, I really do appreciate continued support on said channel. Maybe follow my Twitter, Jeromepkr, second channel, PK Plays for non-Madden content, and that's about it. Should be a real rebuild tomorrow, but until tomorrow...